Hello, Gemini. Thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Bonefire Tarot by Gabby Angus West. Supportive Oracle cards, Wisdom of the House of Night. On the back above the barcode is who created them. You should easily be able to find them on Amazon, though, if you would like them. Okay. What do we have? Ooh. I think we might have a really good one for you here, Gemini. I'm kind of excited about it. Let's see where it's going. Everything seems really balanced all of a sudden, I'm noticing, too. Like, what's up with that? Are we in the balancing mood? Everything does seem very balanced here. Very balanced. I mean, things are... I feel like there's a lot of balance coming out with this. I mean, not that Gemini wouldn't do that anyway, but like that's usually a Libra thing that I get all drunk on the balance word, but let's see what happens. Now, this is a very interesting card, I feel, coming in the environment coming towards you. The Strength card is here. But the tree feel here is kind of like showing me some wisdom, some celebration. Like, somebody's really happy that you're a part of this situation. They're pulling you in. They need more help. They feel like you can add to this situation. There's some celebration feel here. There's more going on here. Like, I feel some wisdom again. Somebody knows that bringing you into this is the smart thing to do, and they're calling on you, bringing you forward. You got the risk going into it. Like, especially with that earth feel, with that tree and the strength, it's kind of like, is this situation going to give me the ability to grow and breathe and move the way I need to do the best I can? Like, you need some freedom to be able to enact your ideas. Is that going to be that way? And when you're first getting involved with this, the situation is restricted. I know it says trapped, but I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling the word trapped. I'm feeling restricted. Because the thing is with the cage is only effective as long as the door is shut. When I'm feeling the restricted mode here, it's kind of like once you realize how to get out of the cage, you can use it more to your advantage. Maybe restricted for you to begin with, but once you know how to navigate it, you can make it contain certain situations, or you can put certain situations in there to keep them under lock until you're ready to let them out again. And I feel like that's literally how this is going. It starts off, it feels restrictive, and this is why it's a risk for you. When you first get involved, it does feel very restrictive. I know it says trapped, but I'm feeling restrictive. Now, the thing is, you get involved with this, and right off the bat, you're working with people saying, you know what, I understand we have boundaries. I know don't cross this line, don't cross that line, but if we really want things to get better, if we really want things to improve, you need to, let up on some of these boundaries, at least to where I can do what I want to do. And I feel like you're working with this. You're like, just because there's boundaries doesn't mean I'm giving up. And it's kind of like you're working with this energy saying, I see your goal. I see where you want to be. I can also see these boundaries helping and hindering you from getting to that goal. These boundaries will work to a point in getting you towards there. But if you keep these boundaries the whole way, eventually they're going to restrict you from actually getting what you truly want. And I feel like you're having to talk with people and explain to people. They're good to this point, they need to change at other points. I need some more room to grow. I need more movement here. I need to be able to move around so we can find other possibilities to get to that goal that we both want, that everybody wants. You're shaking up the system a little bit. It's the Nine of Cups, but it comes in like this in your reading. It's like it's on its point, which is telling me you're showing these people they can attain what they want, but they're going to have to give in on some of these boundaries. They're going to have to change the restrictions. They're going to have to give you the ability to use that cage as you see fit. Keep certain things in those boundaries, but move other things outside of them. You're shaking it up. You are literally shaking this situation up. It's not easy. This is definitely not easy, but I feel like this is something you can do. It's almost like, not for nothing, I don't think it's a bad thing. Geminis can come towards a situation, and if there's a lot of moving parts, it becomes like a game. It's kind of like taking a complicated situation, which literally you have the complicated card, You're looking at this complicated situation and you're like, it's not that bad, it's just kind of like a game to you. Like, what do I need to do to make this thrive? Most people get involved with games to succeed. So it's like a game, like how do I get a win out of this game? Currently it's not looking like it's going to be a successful endeavor, but if I can move around the pieces just right, maybe we can get some success. And you're playful with it. I don't think of it as bad. I think of this as very good, because sometimes people get a little bit nitpicky, like treating like life like a game can be problematic. I don't feel like that's the case here. I feel like that's giving you a lot of incentive and a lot of excitement, kind of like, no, we can succeed. I just got to figure out how to maneuver things around to make this more to everybody's liking. It's taking some work, but the thing is with air, because Gemini is an air sign, when you're in conjunction with fire, and you have that support of fire, and you've got the support of fire in the environment, you got the high priestess of fire here aiding you, you can not only get a lot done, but you can get a lot more information, you can get a lot more intel. When fire aids you, when fire supports you, it's just keeping the fire under control, or like, how do I say this? It's not keeping the fire under control, but being careful what way you fan the flames. You know what I mean? If you have a fire in the center here in a fire pit, and you know there's something very flammable over this way, and you know there's something that's not so flammable, but you could actually do something with over here, it's like making sure you don't fan the flames in a way that's going to cause something to combust that you don't want to combust. So, and I feel like with Gemini can easily do that, but sometimes I feel like things can get a little bit, like you might think you have more leeway than you actually do. So I feel like this is the point where they're saying, you know it's complicated. You know it's complicated. Be very careful, because things can kind of like get ignited without you realizing it. So be very, very careful about what way you fan the flames. Because when this energy starts taking over, it's like fire. Like, you're trying to flame it this way as much as possible. That one small moment where it goes this way for just 2 seconds can ignite something else without you realizing it. You got to be very careful. Fire will just catch things on fire so easily. And be careful about things like you're fanning it this way, but what if it doubles back around? Just keep an eye on everything. You know it's complicated, but like it could get to a point where the flames just kind of take over on their own. That's the thing. You don't want like a barbecue to turn into a forest fire, because once it's in a forest fire, nobody has control of that. It's just going to do what it needs to do. I think that's what they're saying. Be careful when you fan the flames, because once fire is in control and it's a forest fire, you're just subject to what happens next. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can do. So be careful. Be careful. This is what happens next. These are 2 face down cards, which for some reason I have to use both hands to say that. Yeah, what's here? Oh, well, that's a very curious step. Not bad. Hanged Man with fulfillment. Okay. When you're fanning the fire here, the high priestess of fire, somebody aiding you, at some point you're going to want to use that, instead of fanning the flames outward, you're going to want to fan it back in on itself to kind of contain it and kind of mute it down. The Hanged Man is not about putting out a fire, it's about sustaining it at its current level, and that's where you're going to get your fulfillment. Be very well aware, because you know the situation again, you're going to know it's really complicated. When it becomes too complicated, and it's time to kind of like, when it becomes too complicated and you're in danger of igniting things you don't want to, fan it back in on itself and contain it. It'll sustain itself for a while, and you get a lot more fulfillment that way. There's going to be a point where you don't want it to grow anymore, or you're in danger if you're not careful. Like there's a lot of danger around if you keep growing it too far. Don't, just stifle it. Just keep it where it is. Don't let it grow any farther. I feel like that's the big thing here. Like you can have a lot of fulfillment by just not putting it out, but fanning it back in on itself so it doesn't grow anymore, and it just kind of like holds. And while it's holding there, you have the ability to search out other situations, but keep it contained. You know what I mean? This is where you want to bring that cage back and keep the fire contained. But you also want to keep the ability to where you can lift that cage when necessary to let it grow again when you know what way to take it. I'm getting the Geminis that this really hits with. You're going to know exactly what to do with that. So That's what I'm feeling. There's a lot coming forward after this moment. The boundaries that you're helping set, because I do feel like you're helping set boundaries going forward because of this energy. If it gets out of control, like once it's out of control, there's nothing you can do. You just got to kind of like watch it play out. So I do feel like you're helping set boundaries because you can't let it get too far out of control, because then it's just what it is what it is, and that's not helping you or anybody else. So due to the situation, you kind of got to do it that way. Because I'm getting that that's what you're working towards. The rigidness here is kind of like you being able to still have your movement, your side to side, up to down, front and back movement where you need to, yet containing this energy to where you don't have to worry about it getting out of control. The situation is not simple. So there's going to be some restrictions that are necessary. It's just finding the restrictions that work for you and the situation, it becomes hard. I feel like it's a situation where you're going to keep learning and growing. I'm feeling a very good energy with you. You got beauty, 6 of cups, and the understanding. I feel like you're going to have more boundaries than you really enjoy, but the understanding card is kind of like you're looking at it like, no, you got to have these boundaries, because if it goes out of control, it's not going to matter. Like, it goes too far out of control, it's not going to matter. So I feel like you're helping create these boundaries, and it's just weird because I feel like you're not one that really likes boundaries, but you're like, all right, if I'm at least in a position where I can help dictate what these boundaries should be, I mean, if you gotta, because I feel like you're in a situation where it's like that, where you get to put in your 2 cents and you're listened to. So you're helping create these boundaries, but you're also helping keeping the fluidity where you can for yourself. Again, it's a complicated situation, but that's where you thrive. That's where a Gemini thrives. I feel like Geminis thrive at complicated situations. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm feeling, because your mind can handle it. Now, I'm getting these 3 cards with how this goes forward. Be careful with like the differences you're finding you have with people around you, because they're going to be like, it's not fair if I'm restricted and you're not. So that's the key with these restrictions. With that rigid card, I'm feeling restrictions again. The restrictions for other people have to double for you as well. So just be careful. Like, when you know the restrictions, but you know how to work around them, you might have to be careful to keep it a secret how you're working around them. I know that might sound bad, but I really feel like you might have to be careful. Because there's a lot of positive energy, the Lovers with the differences here. You're going to succeed with these differences, is basically what these 2 cards say, as long as you don't make somebody feel like you're exempt of the rules. If people think that you're exempt from the rules, that's going to cause discord. Be careful. You can't let that be known. You got to show that the rules for them are the same rules for you. You just got to know how to work around them, and you got to keep it kind of on the down low when you work around them, because it's going to come forward where you're going to have to show that, no, I stayed within the rules, I just worked around them in an acceptable way. But if you do that, then other people know how to work around them, and you don't want that to happen either. I know I might sound rotten, I'll give you that, maybe it does, but it's what is necessary for this to work out correctly. That's literally where this is ending, isn't it? Yep, that's where we're done. Because you're going to understand the rules. You help set them. You know what I mean? So when you have to work around the rules to move the world card forward, maybe that will come forward. It's not here now. You just got to keep it on the down low. I just feel like that works out better. You got to be careful. You just got to be careful with it. All right, I'm not going to try to find another way around it, because I think that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to let it be. I don't think it's bad. I think it's just it feels weird when I'm saying it, that's all. All right, well, I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you want a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.